Hi there, I'm Isabelle Barter of Stronger Human, and in this video, I'm going to show you the steps to get started with a kettlebell get up. Before we add a bunch of heavy kettlebell weight to this movement, it's important to have the steps memorized or at least really familiar in your mind so that you don't get completely lost. So let's break down what those pieces are. So we're going to start on our side. And we'll imagine that the kettlebell is in our right hand. So you're gonna lie on the right side of your body and put your hand around your imaginary kettlebell. The first move is to roll with the kettlebell onto your back, and then we use two hands to press it up to the ceiling. Okay, so once we know that, the next movement is to split the left leg opposite from the kettlebell into a straight position, so long, and then the other knee stays bent. And so we're not doing it really tight to your body. You're opening your leg a little bit out on the diagonal. So that's the next position. From here, the left arm goes down by your left side. And I'm going to shift positions in a minute so you can see this from another angle. Once you have that, you'll press through the heel of your bent knee and use that pressing to help prop you up on the elbow. That's the next phase. So let me show that from another side so you can see it. So we roll with the kettlebell, press it to the ceiling, split arm and leg. We're on a diagonal. We can think about if our legs were in a big V shape, you just bend one knee in. The arm is about the same angle as your leg, your thigh here. And then we're gonna press through the heel and prop yourself up onto the elbow. So that's called the roll to elbow phase. Once you reach roll to elbow, you press through your hand to come up to a tall sit. That's what that's called. And we suction cup the bicep towards your ear. Next, we have to sweep the leg long. Your knee is going to end up in line with your wrist. So the knee sweeps all the way back and ends up in line with the bottom wrist. For many people, that's the starting place we want to stop at. So let's go back all the way from the beginning. You can follow along with your imaginary kettlebell. You're on your right-hand side. Roll with your imaginary bell, press it up to the ceiling. Split left arm, left leg out on a diagonal. Drive through your right heel to prop up onto your elbow. Prop up onto your elbow. From here, push down into the floor to come up to the tall sit. And the next phase, sweep your knee all the way in line with your wrist. Once you're there, you can hinge back and come up to a tall kneeling position. You have two options. We got to bring the legs from this wide position onto a train tracks. So you can either swivel your knee. Not a lot of us like that though, if you have really hard floors. So the other thing you can do is step your foot forward. That brings you onto train tracks, and then all you have to do is stand up, thus completing the get up. To get down, we reverse all the steps. So we step back with the leg that just came forward, so opposite from the kettlebell hand. So right hand, that means left foot steps back. Go down onto the knee. We have to widen the foot. That's an option. Or you can pivot your back leg. But like I said, a lot of us with knee stuff don't like that so much. So open the leg out to the side. Your hand's gonna find your thigh. You sit your hip back towards your heel. You come out into this T shape. Somehow you gotta sit on your butt. So we gotta press through the heel here, come down to your hip, straighten out your leg, down to your elbow, and down to your back. Thus completes all the steps. You bring the kettlebell in with two hands, and you complete the rep by rolling onto your side. Let's see if we can do all that on the left, and then we'll talk about little pointers for adding weight. Okay, so the kettlebell now is in your left hand, and you're gonna roll with it onto your back. Press up to the ceiling, split your right leg and right arm out on the diagonals, drive through your left heel to be able to prop up onto your elbow. Push through your hand to come up to that tall sit position. Sweep your knee all the way back in line with your wrist. You can hinge through the hips to come upright. Somehow you got to bring your feet onto train tracks. So whether you're swiveling your knee or you're stepping your knee, and then rise up. So root down through the floor to come up to stand. The leg that just came forward opposite from the kettlebell is the one that goes back. Bend the knees to come to the floor. Get yourself back into that wide stance. So I'm gonna widen my leg like that. You could also have swiveled your knee. I far prefer that wide step. Hand to thigh, find the floor. We're gonna sit onto the hip. Straighten out your leg if it's not already straight. Down to your elbow, and then down onto your back with control. 2 hands, bring the kettlebell in, and we roll onto one side, finishing the movement. If you'd like to add a kettlebell, let's go through it again, step by step. So when we're lying sideways, a lot of funny stuff happens when people go to grip the bell. Somehow a lot of people end up putting it with the big ball part on the inside. That is not what we want to do. So what you want to do is have your handle facing horizontally. Take your hand and slide it underneath the handle, grip around it. Close your hand around the kettlebell. And then you can put your other hand on top of it here so that when you roll with it, it's on the outside of your wrist facing that way. So another question you might ask is, why do I have to roll with it? The heavier the kettlebell gets, the harder it is to just yank it this way in an internally rotated movement. So it's a lot easier for our mechanics and also kind of a little bit more protective over that pec as you just roll with the bell and then your elbows on the floor connected. It's nice and comfy. Okay, so let's try that. Let's go for the whole thing if you can. If you need to pause and just watch anywhere, you can also do that. All right, here we go. We roll with the bell, press it up with 2 hands to the ceiling, split your left leg and left arm out to the side. Sorry, I had to spin move there. Roll up onto your elbow, come up onto your hand, sweep your knee in line with your wrist, hinge, come up tall, step onto train tracks, and stand up. Good. To reverse, we step back with the leg that just came forward, lower to the floor, widen your knee out to the side, hinge to find the floor, kick through to sit on your hip, straighten out your knee if it didn't already go to straight, come on down to your elbow, and then with control, lower onto your back. 2 hands bring the bell in, and you roll to your right side to finish the repetition. When we switch sides, we typically don't want to drag the kettlebell across our chest, so you can halo it, which means dragging it over to the other side, or if you are not really interested in doing that because your floor might get torn up, just spin around and then you can face the opposite direction. So let's do a left-handed get up, see how it goes. Okay. So roll onto your left side, grip hold of the kettlebell. We're gonna roll with it. Press it with 2 hands, always helpful to use that guide hand just in case. Right arm, right leg open out to the side. Drive through your left heel, use that to prop you up onto your elbow. Come on up to your hand. Sweep your knee in line with your wrist. Hinge, come upright, step onto train tracks. Stand on up. The leg that just came forward, opposite from the kettlebell, is the one that goes back. We lower to the ground. Widen your leg out to the side. Hinge, hand finds the floor. Kick through to sit. Come on down to your elbow. Come on down to your back, slowly with control. 2 hands, bring the kettlebell in. That is the kettlebell get up. If you want to learn more, there's obviously lots of bits of nuance. If you need help with it, reach out to me. You can find more information at strongerhuman.com. I'll see you next time.